Warning. The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
And welcome to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week, the podcast where we talk about last week's comics this week, one day before the new stuff arrives.
And sprinkle in a little bit of multimedia news on you, just as a nice little way to cool you out at the end.
Indeed. My name's Casey Johnson, and with me as always,
Gideon Gonzalez.
So we're going to start right down on this with a first issue, Far Sector.
My favorite book this week.
And I would not know anything about this had you not introduced it to me. And this damn thing is so beautiful.
It's so good. Oh. So it's from N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. And I'm not familiar with Jemisin's work, but I really want to find more of it.
Yeah.
Because this was, the world building is so good. Jamal Campbell's art is gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous that actually made me wonder who did the coloring on this. I've never wondered that. And I find out he did it.
Yeah.
He did both the art and the coloring. And damn.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
I don't think I've been this caught off guard since the Harley Quinn Black Label.
Yeah. I mean, we have to specify now Harleen because there's a million Harley Quinn Black Label books.
The Joker Harley thing, which I really haven't got started on, but I bought it.
Yeah.
But yes, Harleen. The thing that caught my attention almost immediately is this new Green Lantern that I'm assuming they're introducing with this issue.
Joe Malang.
And her costume design is just on par.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this. I cannot properly say how good this outfit is. It's really pretty. We're going to give you a shot of what I'm talking about here, just so you can see all the nice clean lines. And
I love
beautiful coloring.
My favorite elements are probably her gloves. Like I love the little green studs on the knuckles.
Yes.
And I love her visor. I love big, solid color visors, and hers looks really cool.
I like the lines on the shoulders, and I like the side buttons.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Very cool.
The one of my favorite scenes, it's like the second or third page in, is where she's introduced in the rain, and she has a construct poncho over her costume.
That was awesome.
It's great. It's such a good time to be a Green Lantern fan after such a long drought of good Lantern content.
So you understand my pain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I mainly read a lot of Marvel stuff. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Most of the stuff I like to review is Marvel stuff. But man, when it comes to DC, Green Lantern is my home. And it was my home when Jeff Johns was knocking it out of the park with Rebirth and all Blackest Night and all other stuff. And then I was like, we went through that horrible time.
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling excited about this. And this is what DC is throwing good talent behind. I'm like, I'm all about this.
Yeah. Between this and Morrison's Green Lantern book, it's like, oh, yeah, Green Lantern's like my favorite comic book character after Spider-Man. Green Lanterns rule. There's a lot of people are speculating that Joe is going to wind up being the main Green Lantern whenever they do that 5G thing, which I still don't put a ton of stock into just because there's nothing to really substantiate it outside of the term 5G and some Bleeding Cool articles.
Yeah, I'm not really, I'm not hedging my bets on that one just yet.
I would absolutely read the main Green Lantern title with Joe and this creative team.
Yes,
because she
absolutely.
rules. This book rules. Go check it out if you can still find it, because I know it's been selling out like crazy.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of bitter because I didn't know anything about it until you said, hey, check out this Far Sector. And I was like, that sounds like a yawn fest. What's that all about? And I cracked it open. I was like, okay, I'm on.
That good Green Lantern shit.
That good Green Lantern shit.
It's police procedural on a weird alien planet.
Yeah, it's a murder procedural.
Mm-hmm.
And the what's the word I'm looking for? The cliffhanger. I was like, what the hell? Good cliffhanger for a first issue.
Yeah, real good stuff.
Definite eye catcher.
Please go buy it. Support this book.
We clearly like this issue.
So speaking of Green Lanterns, our second book is a reimagining of a now classic Green Lantern story, Blackest Night, but from the Tales of the Dark Multiverse.
So what we're looking at here is nothing good will come from this. Just like Marvel's What If, which is always a cautionary Twilight Zone tale of like, hey, check out what could have been. But what could have been would have been totally awful.
Everything would have been terrible forever.
Everything would have been terrible. And you go into this book and I swear halfway through it, you're like, maybe there's some hope. I need to have some hope in this particular story. Nah, that shit gets dashed. It gets dashed dark style.
But we get a new universe reborn in Lobo's image, which is amazing. So we get the premise is basically that the heroes lose Blackest Night, and the only remaining life forms basically in the universe, it seems like, are Sinestro as the Limbo Lantern, having tried to kill himself while he was White Lantern and being stuck between life and death, literally half and half down the middle. Lobo, because of course Lobo. Dawn, who had some special anti-Black Lantern powers back in Blackest Night.
Yep. And
Mr. Miracle, a man who can escape anything.
Yeah, the good old thing about the divergent point of this, obviously, from our Blackest Night and its Blackest Night. In our universe, Sinestro gets the White Lantern ring, and he makes the very un-Sinestro decision to share it, which causes this big White Lantern Corps involving like the Flash, Aquaman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Characters Jeff Johns wanted to come back, like Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, that's some randos. No, don't get me wrong. First, Captain Boomerang is my favorite. Oh yeah, Captain Boomerang.
I love that boy. I hated the character assassination that his son had to get bring him back though.
Yeah, that's the 10 years worth of bad scabs right there, because I'm right there with you. They turned what was a redeeming character, Supergirl's boyfriendo, not boyfriend, but boyfriendo, and then just totally dash him into this murderer.
Yeah, who feeds women and children to his zombie dad.
Yeah, I was like, where the hell did that come from? I mean, this is a dad you didn't even know you had, and suddenly you're willing to kill for him? I'm not buying it.
Nostalgia strikes again.
So in this role, Sinestro makes the bad choice of not sharing his white power. That came out really bad. White power lantern.
Thank God he didn't share
it. His White Lantern abilities. He kept it to himself, and then he realizes that was definitely the wrong mark to use. And he uses the White Lantern ring to kill himself, which is probably not the way to go.
Yeah, because it keeps him in a constant state of life and death.
Yeah, so now he has the ability to revive these Black Lanterns, only for them to die all over again. So it's a really nightmare show.
Wonderfully, just absolutely rude power.
It really
just
is.
the most dick move power you could give someone.
It's because he shows up and he's like, live. And I was like, oh, hey, cool. We're going to have some, I'm going to see some turnaround on this. And no, they all died.
Die.
Yeah, connection severed. And then when they did that to Hal, I was like, oh my God. And it's like, well, maybe they could still redeem this story just to see Lobo completely behead Hal and Ceranic.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, that's right. I'm in what if territory.
These are real sad boy hours, sir.
Yes, this is sad boy time. And I'm really glad this is a one shot. But yeah, that was fun to see that Lobo was the new lens upon which this new life in the universe comes out.
I would really like to see characters from these make their way to something in the future, like the Lois Lane Eradicator from the Death of Superman 1, the Saint Batman from the Nightfall 1. And there's one, and the Ted Cord OMAC that's going to be an Infinite Crisis. I'm very excited about that.
I am, though, very excited about the Limbo Lantern.
Stopped by Booster Gold.
Yeah, you could totally make an entire event just based off the Limbo Lantern itself.
I want to see him show up in Morrison's run, just because Morrison loves pulling out weird stuff.
This seems like Morrison's bag. It really does seem like Morrison's bag. Now, we're going to go into some classic territory now with this next one. You decide to pull out some weird book called Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter. Snifter of Terror.
As one drinks with brandy.
I in classic dollop fashion, I have no idea what we're going to talk about here. So tell me about Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Terror.
So Snifter of Terror is Ahoy Comics' kind of goofy horror anthology.
Ahoy Comics, here we go.
Yes, okay. Love their stuff. Right. I jump in from time to time when creators I'm very interested in are attached to it. Like the first one I bought had a Mark Russell Count Chocula story that was delightful. And this one has a sequel to that story focused on Lucky.
How did they get How did Ahoy get a hold of the rights to the Count Chocula cereal?
It's not actually Count Chocula.
Oh, it's just off-brand enough.
Yes, exactly. Okay. They're the bagged cereal versions.
The bottom shelf bags.
Exactly.
I hear what you're saying. Okay.
This one does have the brothers Frank Barry and Bo Barry.
Oh, Bo. So B-E-E.
Are both killed, and Bo Barry comes back as a ghost for revenge.
Okay, so is this the main story of this Snifter of Terror?
That's the backup story to it.
Okay, so what's the main story?
The main story is from Tom Peyer and Greg Scott, and it's about a pair of scientists who discover that humanity is actually just the pets of worms, that we are being that our hopes and dreams in life are things to keep us complacent so that when we die, the worms can eat us and we taste better when we're happy.
This is very Tarantula Wasp.
Yes, very Matrix, and it's just super, super fun, pulpy. Oh, a delightful little story.
Okay, that's a strange one. Any last thoughts on this strange one?
Edgar Allan Poe Snifter of Terror rules.
What was the first one like? I'm curious.
I mean, this is season 2, number 2.
Okay, so it's one long story.
Yeah.
It's not like
it's not an ongoing story. They're little anthologies.
No, that's what I thought.
So you just get like 2 random stories every issue.
Okay, so this is like Dark Room, Twilight Zone kind of thing.
Exactly, with your host, a very drunk Edgar Allan Poe.
Indeed. Oh, that's very cool. Okay, I'm with that.
Yeah, I highly recommend going back and checking out.
Now I'm catching on. All right.
Yep.
All right. So next up, we got another number 1 issue. This time back in the Marvel territory, and a Sony property now. Morbius number 1.
Written by Vita Ayala with art by Marcelo Ferreira. I love Vita Ayala stuff. They're one of my favorite new upcoming writers. I guess not really new upcoming. They've been around for a few years at this point, but they've got a Nebula book coming out actually in February. That I'm pretty hyped for, yeah.
I wonder what they're going to do with Marvel level Nebula, because she's so very different from MCU Nebula.
They've been slowly moving her over to MCU Nebula. Like on the cover for the new one, she's got like the bald head and the two-tone face.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because the normal Marvel Universe Nebula is a bitch. There's nothing redeeming about her at all.
She did stop Thanos in Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, but it was for her own good.
Yeah, but it still counts for something.
It still counts for something. I mean, she did it because she wanted to be Thanos' daughter,
the
properly.
Queen Space Pirate.
Yeah, the Queen of Space Pirates.
I always love that the old Roger Stern Avenger stuff where she's basically just like, I'm Thanos' daughter. Looks at camera, but not really. Yeah,
the old tongue-in-cheek thing, because everyone was pretty much of the same knowledge that she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not, because Thanos in the Marvel Universe is eternal, and she's not rocking any kind of eternal blood whatsoever. She's just a blue-skinned
cool
alien.
Cyborg space pirate.
With long, luxurious blue hair.
Who found a gimmick to ride the coattails of, and it worked.
It did work, yeah.
She got to fight the Avengers, so,
So this Morbius caught my eye immediately with its use of Melter.
Yes.
I love when Marvel pulls out the old villains.
It raised the age-old question for me. Is that the Melter or is that the unicorn?
All I knew is that the Melter was definitely out of his comfort zone with what he was going to deal with in this issue, and I loved it.
This ain't some drunk billionaire. This is a creature of the night.
Yeah, so this Morbius kind of spins off of the time that Michael Morbius spent with Horizon Labs in his effort to try to control the hunger. And to some degree, he thinks he's actually got it.
But we wouldn't have a book if he did.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have some of that angst. He goes in, he beats the crap out of Morbius's boys, and he does it in scary fashion. I mean, I kind of put myself in poor Melter's place. I mean, yeah, if Spider-Man shows up, okay, I'm probably going to get my butt kicked. I'm going to end up in jail. But this thing looks like it might eat me. Morbius shows up with a distinct look of, I might eat you. And even there's a little parallels. It's like, what do you do when you see something that simply can't be reasoned with? I'm like, God, I would poop myself.
I loved Morbius's inner narration, just like meditating on philosophy while like juxtaposed with him hunting people and experimenting on himself. And it was so good.
And even though he managed to do a lot of bloody affairs, he didn't kill anybody. But Melter did try to use his gun on some of his own boys. They're going to need some skin grafts.
They were appropriately melted.
Ever since Marvel did Superior Foes of Spider-Man, I've always loved when Marvel brings out the classic villains.
Oh, yeah.
That seems so off from the title that they're involved in. So you know immediately something horrible is going to happen to him, and it's going to be hilarious. So I was like, okay, I got Morbius living vampire. I'm expecting like some vampire hunters or maybe like some super vampire god or what they usually throw in these kinds of things. And I get the melter. I'm like, this poor bastard is going to have a rough ride. So I love this book. I'm in for it.
I honestly, I was kind of waffling on picking up the book just because I get too many damn comic books.
You sure do. We should say that everything on this table, this is all Gideon's
These are my weekly polls. Yeah. But I like Vita Ayala a lot. And I saw that amazing Kyle Hotz cover with the big bat wings and just...
You and your body horror.
I love gross, creepy stuff.
Now, this is the same artist that graced Blackest Night. And as much as I enjoyed the title and the story, I didn't like the art that much.
I love his really just gnarly way of drawing figures. It's naughty, very expressive.
He's got like, they're not real proportions. They're just like thin limbs with knots in them and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I guess I can understand that. Like in the cover of this Morbius where you got the crazy wings are being kind of grouped. It's like, okay, that works. But for Sinestro, he's kind of look Sinestro-esque, not like Frankenstein-esque.
He's also half dying.
Well, here's the thing. The art was so distracting for me. I didn't know until like the 6th page that he actually had a skull face because everything looked awful.
Wow. Rude.
Well, you and I, we've come to the decision that you like moody stuff and body horror, and I like clean lines and stuff like that. We're just going to have to accept that.
It's the Bill Sienkiewicz and Bob McLeod debate all over again.
It really is. We're forever going to talk about the transition from 17 to 18 on New Mutants. Moving on, we've got the swan song for Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, who made it all the way to 50 issues.
It was such a beautiful ending. Like, I teared up a couple times in it.
Did you?
There's her just talking to Galactus when he shows him. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll just eat all your foes for you. Yeah,
because apparently she's friends with Galactus.
Oh, yeah. She's best friends with Galactus now.
And he's freaking huge.
And they hit a lot of those same points that Gwenpool did at the end of it. Series where it's like, these characters probably aren't going to be the same, like exactly the same the next time you see them. But that's okay. You can always just go back to this run you really love and they'll be just as they were, how you remember them. I've
always felt like I did myself a serious disservice by not really reading Unbeatable Squirrel Girl because I knew that the social media page on the very last has always been great. And I've missed like 50 freaking issues of this.
Actually, you missed 58 because they renumbered after the first number 8. So
that's a lot to consume.
When their first relaunch came out, they got to do our second number 1 this year.
Oh,
and now
that's right.
For this one, they got to do our second number 50 this year since they had their 50th anniversary celebration. This is actually
not the first time they've done something like this. They did this to Silk.
Yes,
back in the
which
day.
Was the same situation.
Yeah.
They came out around the same time because Secret Wars happened and Spider-Gwen and Howard the Duck and a couple other books, I think.
Yeah, they got it to like 6, 7 issues. Then Secret War happened and Silk had to start all over again. And not only did she have another number 1, but her art style changed drastically.
Stacey Lee left.
Now, I was okay with the art that happened in Silk, but I thought that the second artist, which I think is the same person that does either Squirrel Girl or Gwenpool, did that. There was kind of a cartoonish, clean.
Yeah, that was Stacey Lee.
I thought she was misplaced in this one.
I can't remember if Stacey Lee did the first or the second series. I didn't read Silk, so I can't speak to it.
I was a big fan of Silk. Yeah, I'm always like I like the Spider spinoff characters. Like my Spider Woman, and I like my Spider Woman 2. Like my Spider Woman 3.
Boogaloo.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, going into the Silk's second run, I was like, maybe they could have picked a better artist on this one, like Bagley. My friend Mark Bagley, who could do all things, everything.
I like Mark Bagley, but it's the more exciting choices.
It's
like Mark Bagley's good. And
what's an exciting choice beyond Mark Bagley?
An exciting choice beyond Mark Bagley.
And if you bring up some crazy ass Sienkiewicz crap, I'm going to beat you up.
The greatest comic book artist to ever live.
We're going to have to cut so I can beat the crap out of Gideon for this. So what was the takeoff on the last page? What exactly was going on? Unfortunately, I didn't really get a chance to read this.
For Squirrel? It's kind of just like a thank you, farewell ending.
So did they intend to end it at 50? Was that always the intention? Or did they like bring a little tongue in cheek? Hey, it's, you guys weren't buying the book enough.
No, it's definitely like Ryan North came to the conclusion to end it where he did. I did really like that Erica Henderson came back to do a little 3-page sequence at the end.
Who's this?
Erica Henderson was the artist who starred on Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, but she left around, I think, issue 30 or so, and Derek Charm did the rest of the run. But she illustrated a little. They give Squirrel Girl a new theme song. It's also set to the theme of Spider-Man, like in the first issue.
I was trying to figure out how I was supposed to sing that because I saw the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to sing this?
It's to the tune of the classic Spider-Man theme song.
Okay.
And that's just a really nice little like, connecting it back to the first issue. I'm really going to miss this book. It is permanently delightful.
All right. Poor Squirrel Girl. I'm sure we're going to get another number one out of her in the next 6 months. But now we're going to talk about yet another number one that came out today. Fallen Angels. This is
the first Dawn of X book I didn't really care for.
I'm glad we're on the same page because I read this and was like, I'm not digging this at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed because I really like Bryan Hill. I loved his work with Wildstorm, and I've been digging his Batman the Outsiders. Szymon Kudranski had me picking up Spawn for a while. I like his art. I really loved his work on Spawn, and I picked up the book almost purely because of his work on it. And
I was really excited to find out more about Quanon. And I wanted her to talk to Betsy Braddock. I wanted them to resolve this or at least get started on some level of resolution. But I mean, we are going into a book that largely is starring a character that no one knows anything about.
Yeah, I don't really care about Quanon, honestly.
I really don't. She's boring.
Yeah, and they didn't really do anything to convince me that she's not.
I mean, they came in and said, okay, this is Quanon. Okay, she doesn't like to be called Quanon. She likes to be called Psylocke. Oh, by the way, she's got a kid. Trying to shoehorn a lot of crap in on me really quickly.
Ninja
here.
Stuff. Oh, it's my least favorite part of Daredevil books. Thanks.
I didn't like Fallen Angels.
But here's what my big issue with it was. I hated how Laura is written in it.
Yes.
It's incredibly regressive and goes back to before she even had a solo series, basically, where she's just very much just like, I'm a weapon. Point me at something. I want to step out of Logan's shadow. I was like,
this is something that happens a lot, especially with the X titles.
Yeah.
They'll make a lot of character development in one book. And then the minute you transition to another book, it's like it's all gone. Like, I've done this with. I've said Sabretooth's name 50 million times in this particular thing. I'm going to say it again. They did it to him. They did it to Mystique. They did it to people like Forge. Just the moment you get a new artist, not new artist, but a new writer and a new book, it feels like whoever is the big editor, which I know it's Hickman. He's running the show now. But whenever you get a big editor, it seems like he's not paying attention to that character transition. And when you're dealing with a comic that has this continuity that goes in the 60s, you've got to pay attention to that. Mm-hmm. And it just feels like the X-Men guy that was running it up until Hickman didn't really care. Or either that wasn't doing his job well.
Yeah, I've got a lot of issues with it. Because I love X-23. Like, she's one of my favorite characters of the last 20 years. And I've really loved seeing her grow from where she starts in NYX to where she was in All New Wolverine. And even the Mariko Tamaki X-23 book that came after All New Wolverine, I was disappointed that they kind of had to bend over backwards to explain why she's going by X-23 again. But the spirit of All New Wolverine was still in that book. And I felt none of that connection to her iteration of Fallen Angels.
No, not at all. And where's Honey Badger?
Where's Gabby? Yeah.
I want Honey Badger.
Arguably the biggest reason for the development she got in those series.
Right. And they even tried to rename her. I'm not accepting that. That's Honey Badger.
I'm not calling her Scout, not even if there's a fire.
What the hell? I'm not really on board with this one.
Yeah, I'm it's the first Dawn of X book that I'm not going to follow. But no book was really good.
What was that?
X-Men #2.
I did like this one.
It was Cyclops just having a fun trip with his kids.
And they kept calling him Dad.
I love Goofy Dad Cyclops so much. Like, Hickman Cyclops has told more jokes than I think Scott has like in his entire career. And it's delightful. And
they're already starting kind of with a vibe of how these three are dealing with each other. When Cable said, hey, I'm going to give him a gift. Like this doesn't seem right. And he gifts the guy with a grenade. I didn't expect for him to turn it on.
The part that made me laugh, the line that made me laugh out loud, is when they land the Blackbird and Cable goes, wow, Dad, that was some landing. And Cyclops goes, well, you know, son, I've spent more time in the cockpit than I have in therapy. And let me tell you, I've done the work.
This does carry over X-Men's title. They're keeping the quality up now, but This deals with another island.
Yes.
Araco, am I saying it right?
It's a
Aroko?
It's a anagram of Krakoa, so it's some sort of variation of those letters. I believe it's Araco, though.
Okay, so in proper Hickman style, we get a little bit of explanation on what our new character in here is, Summoner.
Yes.
Apparently, he's a guy that can summon elementals and demons.
And he's the son of the original Horseman of War.
Yes, for Apocalypse, and now this is Apocalypse grandkid.
Yeah, because as I had to Google to remind myself, I was like, wasn't there some Apocalypse stuff in House of X? And it's like, yes, there was a little flashback that showed his original horsemen went away because they had to fight some demons from Limbo, and that was a part of Krakoa that got sucked away with them.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, they don't really go into it in this issue, but it was like a page in House of X when Apocalypse was like, yeah, I used to know Krakoa back in the day. And it showed like a big old soul sword, like slicing the island in two while the horsemen were like on the other side.
Okay, so this island was meant to be together.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm catching on to it.
It was forcibly separated from the rest of Krakoa.
So this is kind of introducing a X factor, if you will, to the books, because now we're dealing with the island not only of mutants but also of whatever is on Araco.
Weird limbo demons.
Yeah. So I guess that's almost needed at this point. You can't have this idyllic paradise in Marvel too long.
I do want to point out one thing. I really love how tight the continuity is between the X titles, because both X-Men #2 and Fallen Angels reference Charles Xavier getting shot last week in X-Force.
I saw that too, and I really thought that the whole killing of Xavier was just kind of something for X-Force to work around, and wasn't really going to get referenced because it wasn't going to be real. But yeah, like you said, it was.
I like that they're like on lockdown while they're scrambling to get Xavier back in his body. I think that's really cool.
So, I mean, are they really going to do that? Is that what they're trying to do, is get Xavier back in?
I mean, that seems to be what it is. Because
everything does seem pretty casual about it.
Yeah, and they mentioned in, I think in House or Powers of X that like Xavier's already regenerated twice. Like, he's not a careful guy.
He's a doctor. Yeah.
Old Chuck ain't the most careful guy out there.
If I remember right, the whole process takes about 2 weeks. Is that what we're dealing with
Something
here?
like that, yeah.
So these issues are basically dealing with 2 weeks of lockdown while we deal with Xavier coming back. And even Magneto's like, yeah, you can do this. We're doing this because of Xavier. And the whole lockdown. And yeah, okay, I'll let you break the rules. And okay.
Magneto's the fun dad. He
is the fun dad. He's definitely the one you go to when you want to do something that's decidedly dirty.
I want to go hunt down my child and far across the sea with this couple other killers with me.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Well, okay, but I didn't say okay. Go check out Mr. Sinister. Oh, I got definitely Ian McKellen bad on that one. Yeah, that was probably the single highlight of Fallen Angels. Was the handoff.
Yeah.
Everything else was. So I guess we're not going to be looking at Fallen Angels anymore. Fallen Angels 2 will not be showing up on this unless it gets even worse. And if the shit show that it becomes that much cooler, we'll cover it again.
Yeah, I've already made the decision to drop my poll list. So.
Holy crap! Gideon's dropped us. Cancel the book.
I know Gideon never drops stuff. He sees almost every book through, much to his detriment.
Such a good guy, such a open and willing soul about even the worst comics. The worst comics.
But yeah, a half week for the X-Men.
Yes,
a great book and a not so great book.
Yeah, and it is a disappointment. Going back on Fallen Angels, there's so much potential with that story, and I'm not feeling it with Teen Cable and regressed X-23.
Yeah, Teen Cable way better in the X-Men book. He's hanging out there with the Summers family.
Well, not so much in Fallen Angels. I don't think Fallen Angels is going to survive. I bet you it gets canceled before 12.
I think it's going to get the X at like 6.
Yeah,
6 or 8.
People like Psylocke, but honestly, they're not going to like a Psylocke they don't recognize.
Yeah. And
all right.
I think with that, we're going to take a break before we get into our multimedia news.
Indeed.
And welcome to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week. This is Brooke with Haphazard Fiction, along with Robert, our editor / technical producer / director. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week with Casey and Gideon. If you guys are new to the show, thanks for trying us out. If you guys have been watching for a while, hey, thanks for sticking with us. We do want to continue to improve this show and hopefully make it better for you. So once again, I'm going to ask you guys, if you've got comments, please drop them below. Definitely want to be able to take your feedback and turn it into a better show for you guys. But once again, thank you for tuning in. And as a quick note, if you would like to help support us, we would love a subscribe, we'd love a like, we'd love a Patreon. So if you would like to become a patron, check us out at patreon.com and search Haphazard Fiction, in which case you'd be able to support all of our shows. We do thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm going to take you back to Casey and Gideon with Hazardous Materials.
And we're back now for our first little bit of news. Venom 2 started filming today.
Yeah, and we barely found out about it because apparently our boy Tom posted on his Instagram and quickly removed it.
The bombastic follow-up to Andy Serkis's critically acclaimed Jungle Book.
So I think the reason why he took it down, because apparently, as you can see in this image, there's a woman in the background who I don't recognize, but she's got makeup apparatuses on her.
It could be Shriek. It could be Scream.
It could have been a little too early for Marvel to be comfortable with. And I think they probably said, hey, Tom, stop that. Stop that now. And that's probably why he took it down.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll go to bat for the first Venom movie, but not on its own merits. on how fun it is to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something interesting to watch, as long as you divorce the idea that's a Marvel idea of any sort.
Where's the damn spider?
Yeah, I mean, you got Venom without Spider-Man. This is already an atrocity.
Or any kind of spider theming whatsoever.
Yeah, we have no white spider on our Venom. What's up with that?
Hell, I would have accepted him just like seeing Spider-Man on TV and being like, it's pretty cool. I want to be like that.
Just something to give us a proper Venom. And maybe that's what's going to happen when Spider-Man actually finally crosses over. They'll get into some big fight, and I guess the symbiote's like, but I like Peter. And he starts emulating him. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
And that's when you get like the wall crawling and the swinging around. They did the swinging around the first one, though, didn't they?
Not really, no. He kind of like...
He's just kind of a stretchy oil Hulk.
Yeah. But there's one thing I do know about this movie. There will be carnage.
Oh, yeah. Woody Harrelson is going to be coming back
and hopefully they get him a new wig.
Yeah, because that was ridiculous.
That Ronald McDonald-ass wig.
But Cletus has never been known for his good hair choices.
Yeah, I don't remember Cletus having a shock red afro, though.
He did have some like weird curly
He had like some like 90s... Yeah.
He definitely wasn't a child of the 90s.
Yes.
I hate Cletus Cassidy so much.
Oh, me too.
I just need to put that out there.
He's the worst.
He's the absolute worst. I mean, I've got a top 5 characters I absolutely hate. He's number 2.
I did specifically try to cover him up on the comics on the table.
I really appreciate that because, I'm triggered when it comes to Cletus Cassidy.
He is being glared at by Dr. Doom on History of the Marvel Universe cover. And I was like, finally, a Doom I can relate to.
Right? Doom understands our pain.
So moving on from that, another anti-hero movie we got some news for.
Another little drop from another celebrity.
So when I first saw this going through my feed, I was like, CBR posting Boss Logic art. I was like, CBR. Fan art is not news.
I spent so much time on Facebook going, fan art is not news. Fan art is not news.
But Boss Logic got a DC gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Jim Lee collabed to do the first Black Adam poster.
Which was shared by The Rock.
Yes.
So we got some level of legitimacy
with
here.
A classic The Rock Instagram 2-paragraph story.
So I'm curious about this. Are they going to pull a Venom with this? Are we going to have a Black Adam with no Shazam?
I think in his first solo movie, I think it's all going to take place like in ancient Egypt, and he's probably going to like dunk on Hawkman and Dr. Fate.
But I gotta have Shazam.
I'm sure that they're going to bring him in Shazam 2, the Shazamening.
Shazamening. I mean, Shazam was so great.
It was. I loved it.
This is a perfect opportunity to do this.
I think.
Or is it too much for the Rock to deal with?
So the way that the Rock explained it last was that Black Adam was going to be the villain of Shazam, but then he was like, no, these two stories are too big to handle in one movie. And I was like, Is it Dwayne? They got the same origin.
Something tells me that there was a pitch
Dwayne
meeting
Johnson's
going on.
manager was like, "This isn't enough screen time for the most electrifying figure in film entertainment."
Most electrifying. I'm fairly certain that as charming as The Rock is completely self-aware of how charming he is, and he wants to have the vehicle to showcase it.
The Rock got to get paid,
right? I'm pretty sure that Hobbs and Shaw happened probably because Rock said, "This is too small for The Rock." He even said it in third person like that. This is too small for The Rock.
He does have a dog named Hobbs now.
Does he?
Yes, it's very cute. It is one of the DVD extras on Hobbs and Shaw. You get to see all the dogs behind the scenes antics because the dog was on set.
I do know that there was some tense relations between Vin Diesel and our good man The Rock because he wanted to have this spin-off movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Vin was like, hey, we want to get rocking on Fast and Furious 9. Are we up to 9 now? I think we're at 9.
I don't know.
Yes, because there was Fast and Furious 7 and there was Fate of the Furious, which was 8
of the Furious.
So, okay. So we got number 9, and number 9 had to be shelved so Hobbs and Shaw would have its release window.
Yeah, but Hobbs and Shaw ruled, so I think it's the right call.
True, but I think that there was definitely some tension between them, which I think was recently erased because Vin was like, hey, you guys did well on Hobbs and Shaw. Want to do a shout out. Did real well. And it's like, and I guess they're buddies now.
Yeah.
So we're going to see Rock back in Fast and Furious 9, or are we
who knows?
He's got his own show. He's got to have his own show.
But to kind of wrap up that news, we do have a release date for Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be Christmas of 2021, which is so far away that I can't conceptualize it. So
it's a non-entity. It's like too far away. It's not real. It's not real until it's real.
God, it's been like a decade since The Rock talked about Black Adam stuff.
Yes, he's been doing this since long before DC was even sure what they had as far as Justice League.
The man likes Black Adam.
He really does like Black Adam. And he looks like a Black Adam now.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
He's thick enough.
Does he get the Vulcan ears? I can't remember if he had the Vulcan ears in the poster.
I don't think he did. But I want to see Rock with hair again. That's what I want.
Well, he's not having hair in this movie. It wasn't on the poster.
Bring me back some hair. I like Rock's hairline. Anyway, so that's what's going on with our good friend Black Adam. Let's just hope there's some Shazam action in there. Now, keeping, of course, with stuff we're probably not going to see for quite some time. Falcon and the Winter Soldier released some conceptual art of their costumes, including U.S. Agent.
Yes, he's going to be played by Wyatt Russell, and he looks real good.
Yeah. We're putting up the concept art right here, and the U.S. Agent stuff does look really cool. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited that this show is obviously going to be about the legacy of Captain America.
And I cannot wait to see the U.S. Agent get punched in the face. Johnny Walker. Johnny
Walker is not a very likable guy in the normal Marvel universe. During a time when Captain America quit his job because the U.S. government kind of pushed on him that Captain America was indeed a government-owned thing. It's like, well, if that's the case,
bye.
I'm out. And so they gave the suit to a mutate named John Walker, who got his powers from a company called Power Broker, which says, hey, if you got enough money, we'll give you a little bit of power. You can be able to live like a ton. That's good enough.
Yeah, that's Captain America stuff.
So they got him and they trained our good Mr. Walker with Taskmaster, one of my favorite villains. Mm-hmm. And during that time, Cap is running around as the Captain.
And then, for whatever reason, when all of this wrapped up, they swapped costumes.
Yeah.
Captain America's back to being Captain America. But then Johnny Walker, Captain America, becomes U.S. Agent, but wearing the captain's clothes.
Yeah, which is mostly black. Really cool.
Really good outfit.
And showcases the star more than the A. So that's why you have the star on the forehead on that one. I'm excited about this.
I'm very hyped for this show. And I love the Falcon design they just added so much more color to it. I love Bucky and I might get crucified for this, I like Bucky's short hair a whole lot.
Yeah, and he's starting to look a little like Bucky Cap.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Bucky Cap.
I hope we get 2 captains.
I think that this whole show is really going to be about who's going to be Captain America. Is it going to be Falcon? It's going to be Winter Soldier? Is it going to be U.S. Agent? Maybe even a fourth thing that we haven't even thought of?
We're all Captain America on this blessed day.
So, I mean, that's my understanding of what that show is all about, is the public and the government kind of pushing back on who is going to be Captain America. And we're not even sure if Falcon is really going to get it at the end, although he should. You know,
he should. Steve did give him the shield, and that's like shaking Sinatra's hands. I mean, that's the way it goes. You get the shield from Steve, you're Captain America now. So I'm hoping that's where this goes, and I'm hoping that when the movie time comes back up and we get our Avengers back, because Avengers are going to come back, we're going to have our Falcap. Falcap, is that right? Falcap? I always said Falcon Cap.
Falcon Cap.
Falcon Cap and Bucky Cap.
Wilson Cap. Mm-hmm. Sam Cap. One of those. Yeah. Okay. So.
Original recipe cap.
Moving right along. Did you see Mandalorian?
I have not. I'm the one person in America who hasn't.
I have seen 2 episodes of Mandalorian, but at the behest of my editor, I cannot talk about the second episode, even though I really want to.
I've already had the big thing spoiled for me in Mandalorian.
What's the big thing?
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda is the most adorable new Christmas thing you're going to get.
There are going to be so many damn plushies at Disney Store.
Oh my God.
I want to hug him. He's so cute.
He's adorable.
Little 50-year-old baby.
But another thing that kind of I spotted, and I saw some news places talking about it too, going, it's impossible to spot, but did this really happen? And I was watching the episode, and there's that scene where he's going into what's obviously his clan hall. Mm-hmm. And he's donating his what's the word I'm looking for here? His tithings. That's what I'm getting.
He goes finished into up his rogue quests, and he has to go back to get experience.
He gets his stuff from Werner Herzog's character, and he takes it and he says, I got this, and this will help out the clans and everything like that. But as he's walking, I swear to God, he passes right by Boba Fett. There's no doubt about it.
Boba Fett where?
Boba Fett. And what caught my attention to it is I had the big Boba Fett action figure like this. So I had the colors burned in my head, and now I know one of his gauntlets is orange. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing you see.
That's cool.
And as I saw the gauntlets, like, hey, what's going on with that? And I looked at that, and there's the red trim, there's the green thing, there's the antenna. It's freaking Boba Fett hanging out over there. What's that all about? I don't know if they were teasing us with this or if that's really Boba Fett. And if it is, what's he doing in a Mandalorian hall?
Just research.
He's not a Mandalorian.
He's not.
Unless they're retconning that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they made them Mandalorians. But also, I mean, how can they tell? They're all wearing head-to-toe body armor. I'm
pretty sure the Mandalorians know. I may be being too much of a fanboy
under that damn helmet.
I may be too much of a fanboy, but there's definitely something to be said about that guy in the background looking like Boba Fett. Unless, some Mandalorian went to Sarlacc pit and it's like, oh God, this guy's really dead.
Even during Star Wars Rebels, I was like, all these damn Mandalorian armors look the same. Get some new designs.
What also caught my attention on the first episode is the fact that our star character, his colors match Boba Fett's from the Christmas special.
And he's got the gun.
He's got the big fork gun. And he ends up riding a big dinosaur-looking thing in this. And so it's like, someone loves the Christmas special. And of course, while this is going in my head, I read today that Jon Favreau really wants to do something about the Christmas special.
When will Itchy and Lumpy come back?
They even name drop Life Day.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I don't know if somebody in Lucasfilm is like, we don't have George here to tell us what to do. I think we're going to pull the old Christmas special out of the vault. We're going to do something with it.
4K restoration on Disney Plus when?
This is the hill we will now die on. When are we going to get the Christmas special? Rob, when are we going to get the Christmas special?
Never.
No longer are we the Blade 4 fan podcast. Now we are the Star Wars Christmas special restoration fan podcast.
We will make this happen. Oh God,
we're holding a coup.
Our fake sign-up sheet's on the bottom where you're not going to find it. So moving right along from this, we got other TV news. This time, Frank the Tank apparently wants to push a Sin City TV show.
Yeah, with Rodriguez attached.
So I wonder how real this is.
I mean, Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn show, from what I heard, is pretty good. I have a lot of friends who are big fans of it.
Did that stop? I'm pretty sure that stopped, didn't it?
I think it did.
Because I wanted to watch that. I mean, just because I know that the Gecko brothers were in it for a lot longer.
Yeah, and it has a Busey the Lesser in it as Sex Machine.
I love me some Sex Machine. I don't care who plays him. So where do we want to put Sin City? Do we want to put that on streaming? Do we want to put it on old school cable? You want Netflix to play with this one or what?
I'd watch Netflix's Sin City.
I think I would too.
Just give those, just up the contrast.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get yourself a nice contrast test with Sin City. And it'll be also
color
much
settings,
cooler
contrast.
if they brought back some of the older people.
Yeah.
So we could have, oh God, what character did, excuse me. I'm now blanking out. The character that was electrified.
Marv.
Marv, right. Remember that cool toy they had? There was a toy. This came out like 8 years ago. Remember the time that Sin City came out? And it was just a toy of Marv sitting in the electric chair. And you turned it on, it vibrated, made electrical noises. And then you hear Marv enter his last lines, which is, was it not enough?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
I love the prostheses they did on Mickey Rourke for that, just to give him that flat Frank Miller face.
Yeah. So, I mean, are we having Mickey Rourke back on this? I mean, I'm sure he's starved for jobs. I mean, I'm pretty sure he would take it.
Yeah, I would hope so. I love him in that movie.
I would love to have more Marv. My mitts.
Gotta have those big old Kirby hands.
Yeah, he has some giganto hands in that thing.
I really love all the fantastical elements of the movie and how they just were like, yeah, we can do that in live action. We got a guy in all yellow with a big circle head.
So you're talking about Mickey Rourke and the makeup to fix him. I'm going to use that as a sloppy segue to what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Was he rolling around at the speed of sound?
But apparently, I guess the people putting together Sonic the Hedgehog heard the massive outcry for their character, and the change is not subtle. It's not the slightest.
But it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. Here's a comparison shot we've got here of Sonic about stretching out his legs and getting ready to do his run. And you can see the drastic changes that they made to this character.
I feel bad for the crunch time that the animators had to have gone through to fix the whole movie. But
they did it. They put some money into it.
Yeah, it looks real good.
Yeah. Everyone seems to be agreed that this was the right thing to do. And no, I'm sure that they saved the movie with this move.
I honestly kind of adhere to the conspiracy theory that they put out that they just did that bad design as like
that's some Illuminati shit right there.
A way to drum up like people talking about the movie, and they had the original design the whole time.
Oh, that's some deep Illuminati stuff, because I've seen movies do stuff like this.
The truth is out there.
And they'll put out their early media on it, and it just stinks, and then the movie tanks. So for them to do something like that would have been that's the long con.
To court some fan goodwill, being like, they listen to us, they care. Like, it's still a James Marsden with a CGI talking animal movie.
Again.
Although, I will say in the new trailer, seeing Jim Carrey do full Jim Carrey is pretty fun.
It has been a long time since we've seen the full Carrey. I'm excited about that too, and in the new trailer, he showcased a lot in it. Yeah. So obviously,
Ace Ventura's had a rough 20 years.
Well, you know what? No one stays young forever, and that's for sure. And Jim Carrey was definitely a product of the 90s.
This is the ultimate pet case. Extra dimensional pets.
Are you saying that this might be actually Ace Ventura: Pet Detective Part 3?
Yes. That actually already happened, but it's not.
Did you know they filmed Part 2 here in town?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of my friends was actually one of the extras in it.
Well, alrighty then.
He was very young at the time, though.
Still, get to point out, there I am.
There he is.
Detecting pets.
Another TV show we're going to be talking about is Disney Plus's WandaVision. Now, everybody pretty much saw this coming. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about the classic, not classic shows, but classic stories involving Wanda and her husband Vision, you want to talk about how they magically had children, which grew up to become the mutants Wiccan and Speed.
But before that, they turned into Master Pandemonium's baby hands.
They did. They really did try to retcon that away.
They did that real quick.
And then they retconned the retcon.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got... Well, in the Marvel Universe, Wiccan gets a lot of play.
Yeah, Wiccan's great.
He's in that...
he was in Death's Head recently. That was a ton of fun.
And he's in that new...
Strike Force.
Yeah, Strike Force with Spider-Woman. But we never see Speed.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't know why Speed doesn't get as much play.
The only time I ever see Speed is when the Young Avengers to have like a reunion special.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of a little Quicksilver. you know?
Yeah, maybe that's a little too on the nose. Maybe Marvel is like, we've got a Quicksilver. We're not even using him that much.
Even in the original Young Avengers, he didn't get that much play because he doesn't show up until like the back third of the book.
I love Speed. I loved his outfit.
It was basically just inertia, but yeah, it's still a great look.
It is inertia. There's no doubt about that. God, this came out. I was excited about this. You were excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke, you're excited about this. The guy that created Gargoyles is trying to bring it back. He's got a lot of momentum to do it because it's in Disney Plus and it's been getting a lot of play.
Yeah. And honestly, probably a better Star Trek Next Generation revival than Picard's going to be.
Yeah. I don't know. I love me some Picard. I think Picard's going to be a gemstone.
It looks too action movie. I'm like, this isn't what I want from Next Gen. Oh,
it's going to be the greatest. Even the uniforms look cool for Picard. Yeah. I'm really excited about it. I'm a sucker for costumes. Uniforms. And if you show me a good one, I'm probably going to read the damn book. That's what happened with me in Mockingbird. I got sucked into Mockingbird. And then he canceled it on me. So what are your thoughts on Gargoyles? You are a Gargoyles fan?
Yeah, I like Gargoyles.
You do?
It's good stuff.
I didn't really watch it that much. It didn't really capture me, but I know it was around the time during DuckTales and such. And I know my producer is a big fan of that particular era of animation.
I'm not a diehard Gargoyles guy. Like, it wasn't my favorite thing as a kid, but I always thought it was really cool because I like spooky stuff. And it's from Greg Weisman, who is one of my favorite showrunners ever. He's done Gargoyles, Spectacular Spider-Man, Young Justice. Mm-hmm. And if he could get Young Justice revived, and if maybe even get Gargoyles revived, it gives me hope that I might get my Spectacular Spider-Man back.
So Brooke, is this going to be will this be the hill that you will die on? Okay. I'm excited for you. I mean, I'm not really much of a Gargoyles fan, but I know the fan behind it is really intense, and it's got to be intense for a reason.
And I will say one of the really cool things about Gargoyles on Disney Plus is it's the original uncensored versions they first aired. So when Gargoyles was airing back in the 90s.
Ooh, this is some stuff I don't know. I like this.
So it went a little hard sometimes, and Fox Kids was like, well, damn, we can't show that. Like, there's a gun safety episode where one of the Gargoyles shoots one of the other characters and they show blood. Oh, yeah. And that was removed from future plays of it. This actually happened quite a bit, is that they would air the episodes as originally as created. And then they'd be like, well, damn, we kind of missed a bunch of stuff before we let this out to air. So they would kind of go in and chop. Yeah. A lot of the violence would get subdued and all that jazz.
So we got some, what you're telling me is that Disney is releasing uncensored stuff.
Yes.
That is against character.
Uncut. Gargoyles uncut. Release the Wiseman cut.
But I guess Disney is not afraid of that kind of stuff. I actually spent, I can't believe I'm about to admit this. Right before we were about to air this episode, or shoot this episode, I should say, I spent the afternoon watching Davy Crockett films on Disney Plus. They did not age well.
My favorite Disney Plus thing is seeing the Mr. Boogedy challenge. There's a bunch of people saying, hey, make the first thing you watch on Disney Plus Mr. Boogedy so we can mess up their algorithms and make them think we want a sequel.
I definitely probably screwed up my own algorithm because I watched Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, and I followed up with Davy Crockett and Pirates on the River. And there's a scene where Davy Crockett is talking to a chief of Indians.
Oh, no.
Oh,
God.
Yeah. No, this was filmed in 1955. To its merit, they did use real Indians.
Okay.
At the very beginning of the movie, they said, we'd like to thank the Cherokee Nation for their help in making this film.
Oh, that's cool. So they just slap some red paint on Italians.
Right. They didn't make it too silly, which I would expect it out of the 1950s. And when Crockett is looking down at the Indians and he spots the chief in there, he's like, that's Red Tip. I know that because the Cheyenne, the Cherokee only have one young chief, and that must be him. I was like, okay, that's a little against type. I expected like just some, hey, there's an Indian down there, let's go kill him. That's what I expected out of this movie.
Way to go, Davy Crockett.
But there was one scene where he's trying to reason with Red Tip. And he says, you know what? We'll finish this. We'll finish this with Injun law. I'm like, ugh. Yeah. And then the guy barks back, goes, white man is not part of Injun law. And it's like, well, maybe if you just gave us a chance, Injuns could be part of white man's law. I'm like, ugh.
It's like, so in Batman 66, Egghead, who is one of my favorite villains and portrayed by Vincent Price. His first episode has a lot of really awful Native American racism in it.
Oh.
It's real uncomfortable.
I think this movie was trying to be progressive, by including the Cherokee Nation in this and thanking them ahead of time. But the Injun slur and white man's law.
We were this close.
Yeah. Well, I guess for the 50s, it passed mustard in Disney, but these days it did not age well.
And yet
now it's all over my Disney Plus algorithm.
You get the 10 minutes of Song of the South that remain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what I was doing when I got my Disney Plus. I kind of want to do a deep dive and just see how cringeworthy I could really make this.
I, for one, am looking forward to watching The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, the classic Kurt Russell film.
The what?
The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
I've never heard of this film.
Kurt Russell plays a robot that
wears tennis shoes.
Yes.
He does. It's a Disney film.
Yes. Kurt Russell did like a ton of Disney movies in the 70s as like child actor. And fun fact, Walt Disney's last words were Kurt Russell.
That's right. That's actually a real thing that happened.
And so I want to make sure that Walt Disney's last words were not in vain. And so I will enjoy all of those films.
Walt Disney was kind of a questionable man himself, and then it came to certain subjects.
Yeah, but he knew talent when he saw it.
He did that. I think last thing we got up on our list here is the animation spot that they released for the What If series.
Yes.
Really excited about this. First episode is the Peggy Carter. And she looks good.
Yeah, I love the Union Jack shield. I love her design. And I don't think you saw this bit, but there's a clip that I saw floating around of the Steve Rogers of that timeline. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the super soldier serum, so it's a little scrawny Steve.
In armor.
Yes, he's got big clunky Iron Man armor, and it's great, and I love it.
Well, I'm glad they got Steve Rogers in it. And what I was most excited about the fact is the shield's got the Union Jack on it.
Yes, it's a really cool design.
That's really super cool.
I actually just rewatched First Avenger last week, and one of the things I kind of took out, I was like, man, Howard, Peggy, and Steve was such a good trio, and I'm really sad we never got to see more of them together.
Yes.
Well, damn it, they heard my prayers, apparently.
Indeed. Well, you know what? I want Howard to come back. And I know that he went on to do Preacher, which I loved.
Yeah. Great show.
I think I'm in love with that actor, even though I can't remember his name.
Dominic Cooper.
Thank you. We need more Dominic Cooper, Harold.
If you want to see him really phone in a performance, I highly recommend the Warcraft movie. He plays the Human King in that.
That didn't get a sequel.
and Tulip from Preacher plays the Queen.
And they've been married for like 10 years.
Wait, really?
Yes, in reality.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's very cool. Maybe they came in as a duo. It's like, we're doing this. We're taking this show
kind
over.
Of a package deal.
All right.
Well, I think that's just going to wrap it up for all of our news this week.
We have run out of stuff for this week. Now, I guess we need to talk about the fact that, our biggest thing, this is episode 13. This is our unlucky, maybe lucky.
I can't do the Halloween theme. I got to do the
Indeed.
We are recording on a Friday.
Yes. This is our Friday and our 13th. We're in our teens, but we're still a new podcast show, YouTube thing. And we need all the support that we can get.
Just like real teens, we can't get real jobs. So
this is quite true. We're still rocking day jobs here. So if you want to go down there, give us a little like. Let us know how much you love us. Maybe even jump in on our whole Patreon thing. I swear we've got content on there, including a lost episode, an entire lost episode that we couldn't air because I don't know. Who are we going to blame on that one, Rob? Who are we going to blame that one on? We're going to blame it on Rob. Okay. Yeah. So the video on that episode crapped the bucket. And so now we got the audio on it and it's there. If you want to check it out, if you want to support us. What else we got? Oh, we got a new Instagram. Instagram Hazmat Show. Oh, we're going to put all the images from this show in there. So if you like some of the stuff that we're throwing out and you're like, I want to read some of the minutia in that one. We're going to put it there. You're going to get to read it.
You can flip along with it and be like, oh, that's that thing they're talking about.
It's a read-along story.
Yeah.
Like the records from the 70s. I remember those. Those are great. Yeah. So any last words from our good friend Gideon?
No, I think that's going to do it. We will see you guys next week.